Well, my name's Tate Steinsiek. I'm an independent artist and filmmaker, and I was on a show called Face Off for a couple of seasons. A lot of people saw that and kind of got introduced to my work and all of that. But these days, I direct and create monsters. I do special effects for film and television. What's up? Come in. Welcome to Ola Productions. So I live in Tulsa, living the dream, trying to make movies and play with monsters and not have to get a real job. There's a show that's about to shoot here in Oklahoma. It's called Reservation Dogs. The project Reservation Dogs, it's championed by a guy named Sterling Harjo. He's a local filmmaker, and it's one of my good friends is a producer on it, and it's about elements of the Creek Nation and the people in the Creek tribe. So, they wanted to talk to me about doing some prosthetics and, just some small stuff, no monsters or anything, but like typical trauma and things like that. Some of the projects I've worked on, I did prosthetics for the New York unit on Amazing Spider-Man 2. I did the highly touted Sharknado 2. I made these little miniature sharks for this one particular scene that had springs in them so that when they bit onto the backside of people, that it would wiggle when they ran. So it gave a little life to the shark as they ran. And then I helped the coordinator, I sculpted out like a bitten off arm, a stump for a blood rig, and just some basic stuff like that. Yeah, I worked on the Chickasaw Rancher. I've directed a film here in Oklahoma before. I've worked on everything from like Saturday Night Live to like kids films, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. As long as I'm creating, I'm happy. It doesn't have to be monsters. I like monsters most, but it's just the act of creating with my hands is the thing that I'm into. So this is the display room. Now you're going into where all the work is done. This is Ola Productions. We've got a little art area over here. This is where I do a lot of design and drawing. These are all character masks that are either in development or things that we've actually created. These are, some creature prosthetics, the designs that we went with for a recent film. So you can see a lot of cool things. This is actually pretty cool. This is a Native American post-apocalyptic warrior idea that I had. I actually did this makeup. But so over here, we just have some materials, but this is where, these are all works in progress. This is sort of like where, when things are in the painting progress, go to dry. So, this has got two colors. We've only got one color on this guy. But yeah, these are all in the process of getting finished. Well, I've always been a horror kid. I don't really know why. It's just, even at a young age, before I really was introduced to what horror or monsters or any of that was, I've just been drawn to it. So I don't really know where the genesis of that is, but what it turned into is an obsession with monsters that took me over. So I had to figure out, it's like I can either be a serial killer or I could do something like this. I think I made the right choice in life. A healthy outlet to release some stress. No, but these are just things that I do. I create masks and I sell them on my online store. These are all prosthetics that I sell. These aren't for any film. These are actually like merchandise. So when you're creating a character, you have to start with the design. Once you have your design locked, then you and you have it approved by all parties, then you go into sculpture. And this, for example, this is a gremlin sculpture. I'm using this as reference, but for a private client, I'm doing a gremlin bust. And so you get the clay, you heat up your clay so it's malleable, and you push it onto your form. And then you start using different tools and using your hands to start working the clay into shapes. And that's how you end up with your sculpture. All right, so over here, you can see something that actually is in progress for a film. This is for an upcoming film called Chop Shop. And, it's not a problem to show the creature because they're actually adopting the marketing plan of showing things on social media ahead of time to work up some interest. But this is, you can see that there are two elements here. I cast and created the skull element first, so I could then sculpt a fitting meat element. So this is going to be like slaggy skin, and basically it's a mutant that's burst out of a human head. So you can see the remnants of the human jaw, the tongue, lip, ears, upper palate, shattered, eyeballs. This is going to be brains. Back of the head caved out. So yeah, so there's all sorts of little detailed elements you got to think about, and that's where these smaller tools come into play. Little detail tools, rakes, things like that. But yeah, all of these things are things that I teach in workshops here at Ill Will Productions. So if you're Oklahoma local, or actually if you're anywhere and you just want to come to town and learn some information, go to illwill.com. You can sign up on my registry and get information when I teach workshops. But yeah, I teach sculpture, mold making, mask making, all kinds of fun stuff. So I was supposed to do a show, or be a part of a show. They called it Tiny Doors, and in their gardens behind the museum, they had different artists from around town design and manufacture these little doors, doors to your interpretation. And then they hide them all in the gardens, and people walking around the tracks get to discover them. I actually have the destroyed sculpture after the mold, but this was my version of a door. It was a giant tentacle-covered monster. There was all sorts of tentacles and eyeballs up here, but there was also a key that went into here. There was a tongue and an upper palate mouth. Let's see, I think I had... Yeah. So you can see there was all of these secondary casting attributes, like a tongue, a set of teeth that fit in right here, and then there was a separately manufactured key that went in and hung out with the keychain with the symbol of Lovecraft. So that was my take on a door. Yeah, so these are my characters actually on, and see there's the actual creature himself. But yeah, they made special edition VHS. So when you have to establish an eye line for a creature, right? When the creature's looking at its victims. If the creature head is up here, you don't want the actor looking here, because then it seems like the creature is sourcing its prey with its collarbones, not with its eyes. So what we do is we take these HD monitor glasses, you put them on, they have a sound feed here, and then we take a hidden camera and we hide the hidden camera in the head of the creature, and it feeds directly to the monitor glasses. So everywhere you look, it's in tandem with the creature head itself, so you can always keep an eye line. It's a really cool little trick on how you can throw someone in a Godzilla suit and they can still manage to fight Mothra, you know what I mean? Alright, so this side of the shop, obviously dirty and in use currently, but this is the mold making side of the shop. This is where I cast up all of the things. I make my molds. As you can see here, I've got some silicone jacket molds. This was actually the mold that I used to create the skull that you saw on that sculpture. So it starts out with a sculpture, and then you wrap it in a silicone jacket while the material is still liquid. Then you build a stone outer casing so that it holds its integrity, keeps its shape. Pour up your liquid casting agent, let it dry, and then you pop it out, and you have a rigid, solid skull. This was, for the bottom jaws. So every shop has to have a mascot, all right? My mascot is Cubby the Possum. Tubby, also known as Tubby. What's up, buddy? What's up, bud? Come on out, Sleepy. People want to stay up to date on what I'm doing. I'm about to direct another film here in Oklahoma. I have this studio, and I'm always doing cool things in town and cool pieces of artwork. So if people want to keep up to it, go to illwill.com, ILLWILLED.com.